Once upon a time, in a deep, dark forest, there lived many, many animals. And in that forest, there also lived a tiger. But this tiger was not like the other tigers. This tiger had a teeny, weeny, itsy, bitsy problem. The problem was that this tiger could not roar very loudly. He tried really, really hard, but whenever he did, all he could manage was roar, roar, roar. All the tigers made so much fun of this tiger, and they teased him and even gave him a name. They all called him Tiny Tiger. Ever so often, Tiny Tiger would go and sit by the lotus pond and admire the beautiful lotuses that grew in the pond. Tiny also tried to practice his roar. He would go roar, roar, roar. But he just couldn't get it. And this made Tiny the tiger very, very sad. Then one day, while Tiny the tiger was sitting by the pond, suddenly the clouds started rumbling. And then it started raining. Pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. Tiny Tiger ran to take shelter under a big leafy tree. And while he stood there, he saw something spectacular. He saw a peacock who was dancing around in the rain. It was the most amazing thing that Tiny had ever seen. The peacock was dancing with its tail feathers so beautifully fanned out. Tiny just couldn't help himself and started clapping really loudly. The peacock stopped and noticed the audience, and the peacock came towards Tiny. And that day, the peacock and Tiny Tiger became the best of friends. They would sit by the lotus pond and talk about everything and anything. Tiny also told the peacock about how much he liked to eat mangoes, and also that no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't roar properly. The peacock told Tiny, "Don't worry, Tiny. When the right time comes, I'm sure you will find your voice." And also, Tiny, there is a lovely mango tree in the forest. And one day, I'm going to take you there so that you can eat all the juicy mangoes that you like. Tiny and the peacock loved their newfound friendship. But one day, something terrible happened. Bam! Bam! Boom! Boom! There were hunters in the forest. Tiny was so scared. Tiny hid for dear life. But oh no! The hunters, they captured his best friend, the peacock. Tiny didn't know what to do. The peacock was struggling inside the net. Tiny really wanted to save his friend. Rah! 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 Tried Tiny. It wasn't happening. How would he scare the hunters away? Rah! Rah! And then Tiny saw his best friend struggling in the net. Oh, so sad. And just then, Tiny roared with all his might. Rah! 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 The hunters got so scared when they saw this tiger roaring at them. They dropped the net, they dropped the peacock, and they rushed away from there. Then Tiny went and rescued his best friend. The peacock came out, gave a nice and tight hug to his best friend and said, "See, I told you, Tiny, when the right time comes, you will find your voice." That evening, the best friends celebrated their friendship by the mango tree, eating nice and soft and juicy mangoes.